Hello everyone, today is 22nd of November, now it's 10 o'clock in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you in this update, and I will start with this report from RT about statements that Russian President Vladimir Putin made in regards to long-range strikes deep into Russian territory by NATO weapons, US missiles, British missiles, and well, let's go through this news. First, Kiev has launched a long-range missile strike against military facilities located within the internationally recognized Russian territory, President Vladimir Putin said. In a public address on Thursday, the Ukrainian military fired British-made Storm Shadows and US-made HIMARS missiles at the targets located in Russia's Bryansk and Kursk regions. He said, and by the way, ATACMS, US-made ATACMS long-range ballistic missiles are launched from HIMARS. I guess our community well informed about it. The use of such Western-made systems in the Ukraine conflict has drastically changed its nature. He warned a regional Ukrainian conflict instigated by the West has acquired elements of a global one, Putin stated. These long-range, high-precision missile systems cannot be used without direct involvement of the Western military specialists, the president explained. Russia's air defense systems have successfully repelled all the attacks made with the Western long-range missile systems, according to Putin. The goals that have apparently been set by the enemy have not been achieved, he said. The attacks on one of their command centers in the Kursk region resulted in some casualties among their military guarding the facility. Putin said the command personnel were not affected by the attack, and the center continues to coordinate the operations of the Russian forces in the Russia's border region, repelling Ukrainian incursion, he added. The use of such weapons by the enemy cannot affect the course of their situation in a special military operations zone, the Russian president said, referring to their situation on the front lines where, according to Putin, Moscow's forces are continuing their successful offensive operations everywhere along the contact line. All the goals we set are to be achieved, he added. Moscow also responded to the use of British and American-made long-range weapons with the combined missile strikes of its own. The Russian president said, according to Putin, the attack involved some of the most advanced Russian weapons. And when it comes to these weapons, by the way, Putin yesterday, basically first time publicly announced that Russia deployed Oreshnik. That's the name of this hypersonic ballistic missile system, and almost all day there was a speculations on internet, by the way, about this missile strike. I shared on my Twitter account or X account, and if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to my X account. I shared on my account here these videos and also on my Telegram, of course. And let me show you, by the way, what Putin was talking about. This video here gives you understanding of speed of these missiles, but the video is not clear enough. This is another angle. Something from like Star Wars movie, isn't it? And also, by the way, look at this. Just look at it, man. Speed with which these warheads are entering atmosphere and targeting ground. It's clearly hypersonic, right? It's clearly a hypersonic weapon system. And well, Russian president commented on it. So let's go through this news. Initially, there was speculations that it was ICBM because it looked like one. But then reports were start coming in that it was a medium range missile, actually. Approximately that's how it looks. Although, of course, real images are classified, not available really, real characteristics of this system. But according to some informed guesses of the experts, military experts, that's how this system looks approximately. It has a range about 5,000 kilometers. It has multiple warheads, 3, 6, possibly more warheads. But yet again, precise information is of course classified. And when it comes to 5 range, by the way, 5,000 kilometers, I mean, from Russia, with such a range, you can strike several continents, right? So why this missile cannot be called ICBM, I don't know. From Russian territory, with their missile that has 5,000 kilometer range, can be targeted at least, I mean, points at least on several continents, right? So it is the intercontinental weapon system in a way. But anyways, let's go through statements of Russian presidents. The Russian military has launched a state-of-art intermediate range ballistic missile against the Ukrainian target, President Vladimir Putin said in a public address on Thursday. As a part of what the president called a combat test, the hypersonic missile, dubbed Oreshnik or Hazel, successfully struck a military-industrial facility in the Ukrainian city of Dnipropetrovsk, known as Dnipro in Ukraine. Putin added the Yuzhmash facility was targeted, if I remember correctly. The strike was a response to Ukrainian attack on military facilities located on internationally recognized Russian territory, the president stated. Kiev's forces launched their strikes on Tuesday and Thursday using US-made ATACMS and HIMARS systems, as well as British-made Storm Shadow missiles. He said the president also vowed to publicly announce any future strikes against the Ukrainian targets involving the Oreshnik system for humanitarian reasons, to let civilians leave a potentially dangerous zone. And by the way, according to reports that I see, Russia warned US some 30 minutes before launch of this missile, and I guess Kyiv regime was also informed that this strike is coming. A ballistic missile, and Putin said that such announcements, when opposite side, enemy side, is informed about incoming strike, would not affect the effectiveness of their strikes. He added, a ballistic missile traveling at between 2.5 and 3 kilometers per second, or 10 times faster than the speed of sound, cannot be countered with any existing air defense systems, Putin said. So yes, as far as I understand, whenever Russia will use Oreshnik system, Kyiv regime will receive information about that, so that there will be time to evacuate civilians, but there will be not enough time to evacuate, for example, heavy military equipment or military stuff, by the way, right? That needs more time to be moved away. But civilians will have opportunity to flee the territory. And I guess Russia might inform the Washington also. Although I don't see this being necessary. Why you want to inform Washington, man? Especially because most likely, if US and the UK or France will continue with this long-range strikes deep into Russian territory, most likely Russia will have no option but to take out military facilities of very same US, France, and UK. And Russian president spoke about that also. Putin warns of retaliation against countries providing weapons to strike Russia. So Moscow reserves the right to strike the military facilities of countries that allow their weapons to be used against Russian territory, President Vladimir Putin has stated during the very same public appearance yesterday. The head of the state gave a public address on Thursday promising a decisive response to any aggression. We will determine the targets during a further tests of our newest missile systems based on the threats to the security of the Russian Federation, Putin stated. The president continued, and then quote, "We believe that we have the right to use our weapons against the military facilities of those countries that allow their weapons to be used against our facilities." According to Putin, the United States has ravaged the international security system, risking the risk of global conflict. The Russian president stressed that Moscow has always favored the peaceful resolution and is ready to resolve all continuous issues, but we are also ready for any development. Do not doubt it. There will be always a response, he said, and this is definitely a statement, and this is the actions that the public here in Russia was waiting for. Many members of our community probably noticed yesterday that I was a bit frustrated because it was already 48 hours past since the attack and strike into Bryansk region, and I was frustrated because there was no retaliation for that moment from the Russian side. Later on in the day, we learn about this strike with the Oreshnik missile system, right? And then towards the evening, Russian president addressed all this situation, and he's as clear as it can be, right? In his statements, that Russia will undoubtedly retaliate and is ready for any sort of development. And no one should doubt that. This is definitely actions and statements that was needed very much. And yet again, dear friends, just look at it. These videos are, I mean, like from Star Wars movie, by the way, isn't it? Speed of these warheads, impressive, and many experts, by the way, are now speculating how many warheads each missile has, because every wave of strike had 6 warheads in it, right? And there was 5 or 6 waves. Let's watch it once again. And some are speculating that each missile has 6 warheads. Some are saying 12, some are saying 18. No one is saying that there are 30 warheads in that missile, but it could be. Maybe each missile has 30 warheads that are traveling with their 10 m speed. M is a Mach, speed of sound. So impressive, by the way, for sure. And I can even give you informed guess what might be potential target for Russia's this newly revealed missile system, hypersonic missile system, and that target potentially, among some others, can be recently opened military base of US in Poland, because Moscow reveals a new priority strike target exactly in this country. So Russia has added the recently opened US missile defense base in Poland to its list of possible priority strike targets due to its obvious potential to weaken Moscow's deterrent forces. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has said during a weekly briefing on Thursday. Zakharova was asked to comment on the official opening of the US NATO anti-missile base in Polish village of Rodzichowo last week, and statements by Warsaw that this facility is directly aimed against Russia. The spokeswoman of the Russian Foreign Ministry replied that the opening of this base is yet another provocative step in a series of deeply destabilizing actions by the Americans and their allies in NATO in the strategical sphere. Zakharova stated that the move is a part of the decades-long destructive policy of bringing NATO military infrastructure closer to Russian borders and leads to their undermining of the strategic stability and the increase in strategic risks and the overall level of nuclear danger. She noted that the facility in Rodzichowo has an obvious potential to weaken Russian deterrence forces, and that given the nature and the level of threats, raising from this type of Western military facilities, the base has been added to the list of priority targets for the potential destruction. And dear friends, if you are watching this update from US, and if by chance your relatives are serving in that base, maybe it's worth to let them know that they should be on high alert and run away as fast as possible if there will be warning that something is coming, because they're not going to be able to intercept that something. And I think Moscow may obliterate this base in the very same day or day after, when Washington will dare to attack Russia with its ATACMS missiles once again. If Washington will finally realize that Moscow had enough and is retaliating now, and if Washington will start de-escalating, okay, that will be great. But if Washington, London, Paris, potentially Berlin with its Taurus long-range missiles, if they will continue to strike deep into Russian territory, then Russian president was very clear on the topic. He said that there will be retaliation against countries that are providing weapons to strike Russia. And he was also clear that these weapons actually are launched with the direct participation of their NATO member states. So yes, this military bases Poland is definitely can be targeted, and if it comes to it, by the way, if it comes to it, if Washington, London, Paris, if they will not listen, and if they will carry on, if they will continue with these long-range strikes, I guess potentially Russia may take out all the military bases that US has in Europe, all the military bases that France has, let's say in Africa or in the Middle East, or UK has, by the way, in Europe or in Middle East. A range of this Oreshnik is enough to do so. And who knows what other weapon systems Russia has, by the way, right? Russia just revealed their one system right now to send a strong warning, right? But who knows what else Russian militaries have in their disposal. So strong warning, by the way, strong warning that definitely was needed. And my hope is that Western ruling class will finally start listening, because I don't want to see this next level of escalation. But if NATO will continue, then Russia will respond. That's how it's gonna be. And this base may get obliterated, this US base in Poland. British base may get obliterated in Cyprus, for example. And France may lose some bases here and there. We will see, but definitely my recommendation would be for Western ruling elites to start listening to Moscow and taking seriously what Moscow says before it's not too late. And the Russian president said, we are ready to go all the way. And we are, by the way, ready to go all the way. And if it comes to full-scale nuclear exchange, then it will be unfortunate, but well, at least we will die knowing that our enemies die also. And then we will go to heaven, and our enemies will just die. It is what it is, right? Let's continue with some other news. And potential nuclear exchanger is definitely in a conversation now. US militaries are prepared for nuclear strikes, according to representative of US militaries. So the US is ready to use nuclear weapons if necessary, but would only do so on terms acceptable for the country and its interests. US Strategic Command spokesman Rear Admiral Thomas Buchanan has stated, speaking at the Project Atom 2024 event at the Center for Strategic and International Studies on Wednesday. Buchanan noted that such conditions imply that the US will continue to lead the world. Of course, man. Do you ask ever this world if it wants US to be in lead? Did you ever think about it? No, isn't it? And trust me, this world don't need US to be in lead of anything. Just mind your business, for God's sake, and let the world live its own life, right? And then quote here, if we have to have an exchange, then we want to do it in terms that are most acceptable to the United States, which are namely to maintain a position where the US is largely viewed as a world leader, Buchanan said. How delusional this person is, man. And unfortunately, how delusional US generals are, man. I'm really shocked to see how uneducated or how poorly educated these Western elites in general are, and US and NATO militaries, to be more precise here. I guess these military schools in the West deteriorated unimaginably because of what this person is talking about here. In one hand, he's talking about nuclear exchange, and in the other hand, he's talking about nuclear exchange out of which US will be, leader of the world. What the hell? They're not gonna be US no more, man, after nuclear exchange. What world? And they're gonna be no world left, right? What these people, do they even understand what nuclear exchange means, or what nuclear winter means, or what consequences as a result of nuclear exchange and then subsequent nuclear winter what consequences that will bring to this planet? These people are stupid, man, really. And this person is an admiral, by the way, in US. The admiral noted that in the event of potential nuclear exchange, US would seek to maintain a portion of its arsenal for continued deterrence. We'd had to have a reserve capacity. You would not expand all of your resources to gain winning, right? Because then you would have nothing to deter from at that point, Buchanan said. I don't get it, man. This is admiral. This is admiral of US. And a spokesperson for US Strategic Command. And he is talking to some public in this Project Atom 2024 event that after nuclear exchange, US will, lead the world and will keep some nukes in reserve just in case. What the hell, man? What is wrong with these people? After nuclear exchange, there's not going to be no world left. There's not going to be no US left. Right? That's going to be the end of everything. These stupid idiots, man. And these kind of people are in charge of collective West. Can you imagine how dangerous is that? Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. And of course, Russian side responded on this unbelievably stupid statements from US. Peskov, press spokesman of the Russian president, was asked about it. Let me translate some of the quotes of his statement. So presidential press secretary Dmitry Peskov commented on the statement of their Pentagon representative who allowed their exchange of nuclear strikes if the country retains part of its arsenal. Mr. Peskov said that Russia seeks to prevent a nuclear conflict and expect other countries to behave similarly. That's a response, by the way, of someone that understands what nuclear exchange means, because there's not going to be nothing left after that. And most likely, in case of nuclear exchange, humanity will extinct. That's extinction event, right? That's extinction level event. It's serious stuff, man. So let me give you a quote here. We stressed in the context of our nuclear doctrine that Russia takes a responsible position in terms of making maximum efforts to prevent such a conflict. We expect that other countries will take the same responsible position. Kremlin spokesman said while commenting on the statements of this Bachanen, who has no idea, it seems like, what nuclear war means and what kind of consequences it will have on our planet, on humanity, and on our planet. And it's not just nuclear explosions, isn't it? Many people don't understand, unfortunately, how dangerous nuclear war really is, because as a result of nuclear exchange, let's have a thought experiment for a minute. Let's say Russia and the US get involved in full-scale war and launch their missiles with their nuclear warheads. Each country has about 1,500 nukes on a high level of alert, right? 1,500 nukes are deployed, and each country also has another 4,000 to 5,000 nukes in reserve, right? So let's say for sake of this thought experiment that just these 1,500 nukes were launched by both sides, and about 50% reached its targets, right? 50% was intercepted, but 50% reached its targets. That will cause tens of thousands. I mean, explosions itself will create zones of total annihilation, right? Total destruction, annihilation, radiation, and so on, right? Which will have a unimaginably destructive effect on the social fabric, right? Everything will start break down. Services, relationships, everything will start break down, right? But that's just the beginning. As a result of these nuclear strikes, tens of thousands of fires gonna erupt, right? Hundreds of thousands, actually. And as a result of these immense fires, so much ash will go up in atmosphere that at least from 3 to 5 years, temperatures on planet will drop at least for a couple of degrees, right? And what that means is there will be no crops, by the way. For this time, there will be no crops, which means that we will see mass extinction of all the life forms on this planet, including humans, right? All institutions, all in social fabric will break down completely. And whatever you have seen in apocalyptic movies or post-apocalyptic movies, situation in reality will be unimaginably worse. Unimaginably worse. And that's why scientists that study potential consequences of the nuclear exchange are calling such development as an extinction level event, because there is an extremely high probability that humanity would not survive. You know? But it seems like Western ruling class, due to their poor education, poor knowledge, poor understanding. Seems like they have no idea, man, what they are talking about, what they may cause with their irresponsible policies. And not just politicians, by the way, but even militaries, because this person is a spokesperson, is an admiral somehow, and this person is he or she, I don't even know. Thomas, probably Thomas is here, right? But in case of US, you never know. Maybe Thomas is a wardrobe. Maybe pronouncement of this Thomas is a wardrobe or penguin or giraffe. Who knows? I don't know. There is a, or gender fluid something, you know. There is 150 million different genders in the West nowadays. So you never know. Names telling nothing there. But anyways, I mean, this whoever this person is or whatever, somehow this person managed to become admiral. I mean, this stupid individual, literally stupid, by the way, individual, become admiral, right? How that even possible? I don't know, man. This idiot thinks that after nuclear exchange, there will be US, there will be world left, everything gonna be okay, and US gonna be in charge again, and US gonna preserve some nukes, you know, just in case that it will need another nuclear exchange with. What the hell, man? Who are these people, man? Unbelievable, you know. And dear friends, before I continue, let me notice, if I made that this media project, by the way, is completely subscriber funded. One of the rare projects right now that exists on internet from Russia, projects from Russia that is focused on news and political commentary. Unfortunately, many channels were taken down by Western these platforms. And yes, it's completely subscriber funded. And if you think it is necessary, voice from Russia to be heard, if you think this project has some potential and deserves to exist in this field, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal. I don't know if PayPal even works, because for last this week, by the way, I did not have single donation through PayPal. So yesterday I was wondering, does PayPal even works? Maybe there is some technical issues there, I don't know. So I mean, if you want to support my work, this project, you can do it with donation through PayPal or Boosty platforms, or you can subscribe to my page, by the way, on Patreon and Boosty, where I have quite a number of additional, I mean, bonus content, let's say, almost every other day, and I'm trying to have even more content there, but unfortunately I cannot, I'm unable to publish every day. I mean, there's always something that makes it impossible, but this is life, isn't it? But there is quite a lot of content anyways on my Patreon and Boosty, as my thank to your support, for support of community there. So yes, all the links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And now let's continue. RT is reporting that well, Kyiv regime is, I guess, emboldened after this long-range strikes deep into Russian territory with storm shadows and ATACMS, and they are asking now for Tomahawk missiles openly. So Ukrainian officials are reportedly planning to demand that Washington send Tomahawk missiles to Kyiv and allow their use against targets deep inside Russia before President Joe Biden's term is up. Ukrainian lawmaker has told Politico. And unfortunately, by the way, this might happen. Western ruling class is escalating, as we can see, so much so that, I mean, I would not be surprised, actually, if in upcoming days or weeks we will hear announcement that Tomahawks were delivered to Kyiv controlled territory. Or maybe we will learn about tomahawks after they will be launched to strike deep into Russia. Because there is a high probability that recent messages from Russia, including deployment of this Oreshnik missile system, may not reach its adversary. Western ruling class still may go on with their further escalation. And you know my take, dear friends, if that's going to be the case, and if Western ruling class will go further, continue escalation, next stage after a long-range missile attacks with ATACMS or potentially with tomahawks, next level of escalation will be nuclear one. And it's definitely not random stuff that Western media outlets, including big names, by the way, like Times, right, or Economist, when it is definitely not random that these Western media outlets are pushing now narrative about potential of the Kyiv regime to create atomic bombs, right? This done for a purpose. And ground has been prepared. We are observing beginning of the preparation of this new narrative that Kyiv regime, in certain circumstances, they will find out justification for that, might create atomic bombs and even deploy atomic bombs. So that's going to be next level of escalation. So therefore, yesterday and many other times before, I was saying that it is absolutely necessary to retaliate on NATO's aggression strongly, because Western ruling class can understand only language of force, nothing else, right? Only language of force. And Russia needs to demonstrate force, because otherwise, if Western ruling class will continue with escalation, next level is nuclear blackmail and nuclear threats. And West is already preparing ground for that. RT is reporting that last Dutch F-16s delivered for Ukrainian pilot training. The Dutch military has delivered the last 2 of 18 F-16 fighter jets to be used for training Ukrainian pilots to an air base in Romania. The defense ministry in the Hague announced on Wednesday. The final handover was completed at the 86 Air Base, where Western instructors trained Kyiv's Air Force in how to operate the US-made aircraft. Dutch Defense Minister Ruben Brekelmans has confirmed. And by the way, that air base in Romania is potentially also potential target for Russia's weapons, right? If West will continue further escalation with long-range strikes deep into Russia, potentially that military base, NATO military base in Romania, is also might get up close and personal with Russian missile systems. That's a possibility. TASS news agency is reporting that Russian armed forces liberated Dalny. This information is confirmed by Russian Defense Ministry. Dalny is under Russian control for quite a while now, but being extremely conservative institution, Russian Defense Ministry just now confirmed this information, and Dalny is on the southern side of Kurakhova, by the way. And when it comes to Kurakhova, which is obviously used to be, at least in the past, one of the main logistical hubs for Kyiv regime's forces in central and southern sectors of the front line, when it comes to Kurakhova, it seems like Russian forces already are operating in the central parts of this settlement, and I guess most likely before end of next week, Kurakhova will become under full Russian control. And by the way, progress of the Russian armed forces continues all along the front line in the zone of special military operation, and the Russian forces are further continuing their progress, increasing pressure on Kyiv regime's formations in the zone of special counter-terrorist operation in the Kursk salient area. What else I have prepared? Interesting news here that according to Roberto Fico, he and the Prime Minister of Slovakia, he and the President of Serbia, Alexander Vucic will attend the celebration of the victory of the Nazi Germany on 9th of May in Moscow. So good news. Roberto Fico already stated earlier that he will come to Moscow to celebrate with together with Russian citizens this great victory in a great patriotic war, and it is good that President of Serbia will also attend, because after all we are talking about Serbia, by the way. Serbians are our brothers and sisters, so it is only right that top official in Serbia will attend this celebration. RIA Novosti is reporting that International Criminal Court (ICC) issued an arrest warrant on Prime Minister of Israel Netanyahu and their former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Also, ICC issued arrest warrants for some officials, high-ranking officials in Hamas, and well, it took quite long, isn't it? It took quite long for ICC to issue arrest warrant on Netanyahu. They were very quick to issue arrest warrant against the Russian president and their ombudsman, child's ombudsman here in Russia. And ICC issued arrest warrants against Russian officials because Russia saved their children, right? Russia evacuated children from a zone of special military operation and saved their lives. And because of that, ICC, Western ruling class, and their puppets in ICC issued an arrest warrant on Russian officials, while just now, by the way, after more than a year of escalation in the Middle East, ICC issued an arrest warrant on Netanyahu. And dear friends, this is a part of a game again. We all understand that ICC is members of ICC are basically CIA prostitutes, right? Let's be clear on that. They deserve no respect. They deserve no respect, right? They are CIA prostitutes, literally. Literally. CIA prostitutes. And they issued arrest warrant on Netanyahu. You know why? Because this way, Western ruling class will manage more easily to manipulate with Netanyahu and his government, because Netanyahu gonna find himself being cornered somewhat, right? And I guess Western ruling class, in their attempt to provoke regional war, was demanding something from Netanyahu that even he was against. Can you imagine what Western ruling class was demanding that even Netanyahu most likely said no, right? And as a response, now Western ruling class ordered their prostitutes in ICC to issue arrest warrant on him. And now Netanyahu gonna listen more carefully and obey orders better, right? So in fairly short time, by the way, we should expect further significant, very significant escalation in the Middle East, because whatever demands were from Western ruling class, from Netanyahu, he will now do it, most likely. And I said many times that Western ruling class wants to provoke regional war in the Middle East. Western ruling class wants to shut down navigation in the Persian Gulf and through Hormuz Strait, because they want China to be cut off from Middle Eastern energy sources. And China is a main buyer, by the way. To have an understanding how important for Chinese economy Middle Eastern energy is, well, it's about half. Approximately, it's about from 30 to 50% of energy that China is receiving, right? And China is the main customer for Middle Eastern countries that are exporting oil and gas. That's how important for Chinese economy that situation, that region is. And that's why Western ruling class, in my understanding, is so determined to provoke this regional war to cut off China and harm significantly Chinese economy, because what China gonna do in that case, right? As far as I understand, they are buying more and more gas, more and more LNG oil to have some reserves. But if, let's say, a crisis in the Middle East continues for another several years, then no reserves will be enough, right, to fuel Chinese economy. We are talking about Chinese economy, by the way, right? And other countries, Russia, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, or other countries worldwide that are also play big role on the energy market, will struggle to compensate the volume of oil and gas that China will lose in case of regional war in the Middle East. So Chinese economy will be hurt significantly. And that's what is happening here, right? And that's why, because Netanyahu most likely was refusing to escalate on a level that Western ruling class wanted, maybe West was demanding Netanyahu to deploy nukes, and he refused or something. I don't know. But whatever the case, to corner him and force to obey orders, Western ruling class ordered their prostitutes in ICC to issue this arrest warrant on him. That's the game, by the way, that is being played there. So if you have any respect for ICC, I don't know, man. I guess you are mistaken. That so-called institution is a tool of Western ruling class and should not be respected. And none of its members, because if anybody in ICC had any dignity, they will leave that structure, right? That's how it is. RIA Novosti is reporting that Iran plans to start deploy new centrifuges, new generation of centrifuges, as a response on a critical resolution of IAEA about Iran. So Tehran is not happy with this organization, understandably so, by the way, because IAEA is only formally UN body, but in reality, IAEA is led also by puppets, right, of the Western ruling class. We all know this. Right? So why Iran had any other expectations? Why they think that IAEA gonna be objective? I mean, come on, man. IAEA experts are for how long now on Zaporozhye nuclear power plant? They saw with their own eyes dozens of times how Zaporozhye nuclear power plant was targeted by Kyiv regime's militaries with the drones, with artillery strikes, missile strikes, and so on. Did even once IAEA demanded from Kyiv regime to stop attacking nuclear facility? Did even once IAEA acknowledge that it is Kyiv regime that targeting nuclear power plant? No, by the way, no. And relatively recently, delegation of IAEA under leadership of Rafael Grossi went to Kursk nuclear power plant that was also targeted by Kyiv regime. And what do you think? Did this delegation of IAEA come up with stronger statements and strong condemnations of the actions of the Kyiv regime? No. You know what they say? They have not enough data to be sure which side is targeting these power stations. I mean, can you imagine that? By the way, Russia is in charge of Kursk nuclear power plant. Obviously, Russia is in charge of Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. So who is targeting then that power plant? Kyiv regime, right? You don't have to be genius, for God's sake, to realize that. But IAEA never ever demanded from Kyiv regime to stop attacks on Zaporozhye and of course nuclear power plants, never ever acknowledged that it is a Kiev regime and its Western backers that are actually involved in the nuclear terrorism. So why Iran had any expectations that IAEA gonna be objective, man? I don't know. But yes, as a response of critical resolution in IAEA, Iran made decision to basically start operating with a new generation of centrifuges, and centrifuges are, by the way, necessary for enrichment of uranium, right? Uranium is turned into gas, then in that centrifuges, these molecules or atoms, by the way, are divided somehow, and in this process, eventually you get enriched uranium. Let's, although I'm not physical, obviously, and there are members of our community that are good in physics can, of course, explain this process much better. But I'm sure centrifuges are used for to enrich uranium, that's for sure, in nuclear industry. So let's translate this, at least this first sentence here. The head of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, Mohammad Eslami, has ordered effective measures, including the launch of a significant number of new advanced centrifuges in response to their adoption of the anti-Iranian resolution by the IAEA Board of Governors. The Iranian Foreign Ministry said, and by the way, situation is getting so bad in this world and in the Middle East, to be more particular, that at some point, Iran may even go nuclear. Iran is nuclear power in sense of civilian nuclear energy, right? But at one point, even though, as far as I understand, they don't want to do it. But at one point, they might say, you know what, this is the only way we have left, and they may acquire nuclear weapons, which will be beginning of their nuclear race in the region, because of course other regional countries, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, some others will also will try to acquire nuclear weapons, and that will make region even, I mean, hardly any more safer. But yet again, I mean, you know, TASS news agency is reporting that Russian side is also not happy with their IAEA, understandably so. And I'll tell you exactly why. So experts, according to their international IAEA experts, basically, at Zaporozhye nuclear power plant are not doing their job of recording provocations against the plant, and do not hold Ukraine responsible for creating threats. This was stated by the permanent representative of Russia to the international organization in Vienna, Mikhail Ulyanov. So yes, I just said, by the way, right? I just said that these so-called experts of IAEA that are actually presented in Zaporozhye nuclear power plant never ever stated that it is Kiev regime that actually involved in nuclear terrorism and conducts strikes on Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, or Kursk power plant, nuclear power plant, for that matter. This organization is only on a paper is a UN body. In reality, this institution is full of CIA prostitutes, right? That deserve no respect. That's what it is, man. And it should be said openly by everybody. I mean, just a little criticism is not enough. Country should come up and say, you know what, IAEA is clearly not working for humanity. It's not working for UN. It works for US. It's controlled by CIA. And this is unacceptable. That's what has to be said openly, because, I mean, criticism, okay, criticism is good, but does Washington cares about your criticism? or assets of the Washington in leadership of IAEA? They don't. They just don't. Anyways, let's continue. A few more news, dear friends. So, number of grounded Russian Airbus jets revealed. So, Russian airlines have grounded 34 of 66 Airbus A320neo and A321neo planes in the country as a result of Western sanctions. Commerçant Business Daily reported on Thursday the planes have been taken out of service in recent months due to difficulties sourcing parts, making it impossible to properly maintain their aircraft engines. The outlet reported some of the Airbus Neo planes are equipped with their engines manufactured by US company Pratt & Whitney, while the others are supplied with their LEAP-1A engines, which are produced by Franco-American manufacturer CFM International before sanctions were imposed on Russia by the US and the EU and their allies in relation to Ukrainian conflict. The country was a major market for aircraft lessors, which purchased jets from Boeing and Airbus, leasing them to local carriers. However, the sweeping restrictions have prevented Russian operators from accessing spare parts and maintenance services from the Western suppliers. Well, that's why it is necessary not to be dependent on extremely hostile collective West. Everything is weaponized by Western class, by the way. Literally everything is weaponized, right? And therefore, it is absolutely necessary that Russian industry, aviation industry, will start delivering this new generation of planes as fast as possible. And of course, there will be, there is a huge market, by the way, inside Russia and also outside of Russia that these jets may, be presented and be successful on, right? So this experience hopefully will be a good lesson for Russian industries because they were too relied on the West, extremely relied on the West in many ways, and aviation is civilian aviation is one of their examples. For example, one of the examples. So now, if lessons are learned, then good. Russian industry is well capable of producing planes that will serve no any worse than Airbus or Boeing. So Russia should focus on that. And those planes may gain attraction on the world market also. Who knows? And yesterday I reported, isn't it, that first completely domestically built Tu 214 basically took his first flight, right? Russian industry is working on mass production of MS-21 and also renewed their Superjet. So there are at least several civilian aircrafts that will enter market in relatively short time. So situation will be resolved. I have no doubts about it. And finally, dear friends, there are some quite strange information, interesting one also, one may say, that US businessman wants to buy Nord Stream 2, by the way. Nord Stream 2 pipelines, gas pipelines that was destroyed by US during their largest ever industrial scale terrorist attack. And this is quite interesting because I did not even, this person has some contacts in Russia, by the way, this businessman. American investor Stefan Lynch wants to buy the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline if it is put up for auction, writes the Wall Street Journal. Stefan Lynch has been doing business in Moscow for 2 decades and now he wants to buy a gas pipeline running from Russia to Germany. He argued to US officials and lawmakers that the United States ownership of the pipeline would provide the leverage in the peace talks with Russia to end hostilities in Ukraine and serve the long-term interest of the United States. As journalists pointed out, Lynch requested the license from the US government that allows the businessman to bid for ownership of the project. And in a way, this is interesting. This information is reported on RIA Novosti, by the way. Okay, Wall Street Journal, Western propaganda outlets cannot be trusted, by the way. I mean, they're lying too much. But this is reported on RIA Novosti also, which may be their indicator. And RIA Novosti is a state-run media, by the way. State-financed media. Right? And if RIA Novosti is reporting about it, then who knows? Maybe in some circles in Moscow, there are some talks to actually sell Nord Stream pipelines. I don't know. But this businessman, I guess, knows something. Otherwise, if something is completely impossible, why would you spend your time on that topic? Why would you arrange meetings with US officials and lawmakers? Right? So something is going on. Something is going on, and we should not be surprised if sometime in the future, in a year's time, in 1 year's time or 2 years' time, we will find out that the Nord Stream 2 pipeline actually is put on auction. That might happen, I don't know, but theoretically speaking, it might happen because why not? If Gazprom is unable to operate with this asset, then why would Gazprom need this asset that only forces you to pay money for maintenance of whatever is left from gas pipelines, right? While it's not giving you no profit at the moment. So one day Gazprom may actually sell this project. Who knows? And this is it for now. Relatively long update, dear friends. Relatively long update, but hopefully you will find it informative, interesting, useful, maybe a bit entertaining also. That will be good. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary. This is the only way we can deal with this crazy algorithm that suppresses my channel big time, by the way. Yesterday, I checked once again, and you can do it also, by the way. You can, in a search on YouTube, you can put news from Russia. News from Russia. And I don't know what you will see, but I did not see, not just my channel, I did not see any channel from Russia. Any channel from Russia. I was scrolling, and YouTube was showing me all sorts of videos from all sorts of channels, all from the West. Vast majority from the West, by the way. And I was asking to show me news from Russia. Channels from Russia. That's how this algorithm works, by the way. And this is, this is not even shadow ban. This is something shadow ban extra, I guess. So yes, if you can leave some commentary, that would be great. And click that like button. It might also help. May not, but might help. Who knows? Especially on YouTube, by the way. Although on Rumble also, I know there is a potential on Rumble to grow. So if views on Rumble will increase, then maybe I will manage to reach wider audience on Rumble also. And finally, if you like my work, if you think this project deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links on this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. If no technical issues, by the way, unfortunately last couple of days I wasn't able to make additional content on Patreon and Boosty, but hopefully I will manage to do so today. I hope there will be no some technical issues on that. Anyways, have a wonderful day, dear friends. Great upcoming weekend. Take care and see you tomorrow.